Hello and welcome to today's edition of the Youth Show. Now, we're going to look at a series of discussions and activities, but first of all, we're going to start off with our team talk, which today comes from Faisal.
Faisal Raja. I'm the project manager for Rhythm UK. Our latest project is the Rhythm Community Centre. For those that know me, they know I like to eat, so anything with chicken in it really. I like to relax and unwind by going to the gym and doing running, but also like to spend time with the family. I can't say any of them are the laziest. They all do a really sterling job, good job. It's got to be me. I'm the most humblest as well. Fish is quite funny, but the joke of the pack's got to be Zabs. One needs to be getting the outside sorted and the wall climbing and archery stands erected. Two is to change the communities in the local area so that they contribute to society in a positive manner. And three has to be just to touch the lives of as many people as possible. The greatest man that walked the earth, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Our newest member of the committee, it's got to be Fazib. I think Azza's quite a caring person. He looks a bit like a Care Bear as well. Got to be me. Worst dressed, I'm not going to say names, but we call him the dinner lady. Even though Fazib does turn up late, I think he's the most organised out of all of us. I've done a lot of work with Azza, he's been my previous business partner, and he's done a really good job, but he's the least organised, unfortunately. Everyone likes to have a moan, and I think it releases some frustration, so everyone does moan, all of us. I'd rather not say on camera, it will make them emotional.
Now we're going to go over to our first activity of the day. We're also going to go over to the Jarhead Challenge, which today will be basketball.
You're in! Oh. Hey Khalid, noticing you there with the kids, it seems fantastic what you're doing with them. I mean, how did you get into basketball?
Basically, it was something that I grew up into with like my cousins and friends and family, and then it just became one of my main sports at the moment.
Do you play for a team?
I play for the local Filipino team, yeah I do.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah. So there's a specific Filipino team that joins what sort of league is it?
It's an East League and a West League, so we play in East London and in West London, so it's like home and away kind of thing.
Oh, okay. How is that effective for, say, working with the kids?
Well, with the kids, obviously being a basketball player, with my experience, as I would say, I could teach them what I know. And then so the basic drills, basic fundamentals of basketball, I can show them, and then from there on they can adapt better skills.
It must be nice to be able to give back.
Definitely, because obviously being a revert brother, the brothers showed me certain things within Islam, so it's good to give whatever I can give back to the kids or even some of the grown-ups.
And it's nice to see them looking at you as maybe a bit of a role model as well.
A role model, I'm not too sure. I can play a little bit, but I don't know about a role model at the moment.
No, but to be fair, I mean, they do seem to have that element of looking up to you. Do you think it's nice to have that responsibility?
Definitely, because obviously where I've grown up thinking, doing things within like life, obviously I can teach them and show them the right path, which way to go, obviously learning from my mistakes.
After Journal's victory in boxing is 2-1. Now it's time for some basketball in the fourth event. For this event, what we're going to do is, in order to win this event, you have to do 2 free throws in a row. So let's begin.
Watch this judo.
Oh, come on, got to get one in. Come on, Joylo. Come on, boys, this side.
There you go. 1-0,
Come on,
1-0.
Joylo, we need this one. Come on.
That's 1-0, bro.
1-0. Oh, come on, Joylo, look, you got to get it. Take it easy. Oh.
Concentrate.
A bit more.
Bigali's can't jump, eh?
3 and 4.
I ain't got my Jordans on, that's why.
They got polo t-shirts on. This is all you.
So, that was possibly one of the most painful moments of my life. I don't know how it was for you boys. It looked pretty painful. I had obviously less painful because you won. But Joynal, what happened there?
Nothing to say.
Nothing to say at all. I mean, it was quite embarrassing. I'd have been embarrassed.
I told you, I kept the watch on. That's what went wrong.
It's always the watch.
The 50-gram watch.
Did you not have the watch on when you did the boxing?
No, I took it off. That was the thing.
Right.
You
I
know,
saw him wear it.
to be fair, his favourite film when he was younger was Space Jam, so it just makes sense, you know.
So
And plus,
you-
I wasn't wearing my Jordans, you know. You can't play basketball without wearing Jordans. Come on.
No, but I think you would have actually needed help from Michael Jordan personally to have won that. You were actually terrible too, but you got the points on the board. So how do you feel?
I feel good. I feel great. As long as I'm winning, that's all that matters. And this time, actually, my mentor was there for me, so it was good.
So do you think that possibly the basketball is going to be something you're going to take up in the future?
No, because I'm rubbish at it.
Oh, well, at least you're aware.
Yeah.
So the next round's coming up. How do you feel? Do you think you've got a chance?
You ain't got a chance.
3-1 now.
You ain't got a chance.
Who knows? Table's my turn, but I know I'm going to win.
You ain't gonna win.
Joynal, 3-1 down. Is there any chance of you coming back?
Listen, I'm just making it a competition. To be fair, if I won every single round, it wouldn't really be much of a competition.
So you like to
That's
come
it,
back?
Really. There is going to be a comeback. You know, the greatest boxers have lost. You know, greatest basketball players have lost, and you know, came back, risen. I'm a fighter.
As we saw in the boxing.
Exactly. You know, that's exactly what it is. You know, we need something
I'll
more
let you
violent.
win. I'll let you win.
You know, you're just lucky there's not a cage fight.
One last thing, fellas. I'm going to ask you. I want a one-word answer from you both. Is it the taking part that counts?
Yes.
Is it the taking part that counts?
Absolutely.
Good to hear, boys. Thank you.
I want to say respect for coming still, yeah. Many of you don't know who I am and where I'm coming from, but I'm a former gang member. Started a gang before all of you was even born, even before the cameraman was born. I was running a gang in Brixton, 25 man deep in 1976. Basically, when we first came to this country, it was a different setup from what you guys even understand, you know what I mean? It's like you had young men who couldn't even come out their front door because of the skinheads or because of the National Front. You call them BNP or EDL, you call them now. We called them back then was the National Front. And also we had to contain with the racist police officers. So many of us started gangs for particular reasons. We didn't start a gang to sell drugs. We didn't start a gang to kill each other. We started a gang specifically to protect our neighborhoods. What does that mean for today's young men? Today's young men, which is what I've come to talk to you about, is to let you understand that certain things have changed drastically in your community. When we first came to this country, Muslims and Asians had a set way about them. And unfortunately, many of you Asian young men have lost your way, totally. lost your way to the point where you're taking on the black culture and you think it's all cool, and now you're trying to act like you're gangsters yourselves. You've got 35 gangs, Asian gangs, in Tower Hamlets alone, and 5 in Newham. I'm not even including Tooting Beck, Tooting Broadway, Southall, those areas. There's many more gangs. And what's happened, and it's become apparent, is that most of you have moved away from your Muslim roots and started getting involved into things like hip-hop, grime, bashment, and those kind of things. And don't get me wrong, because I'm not trying to stereotype against those music, but unfortunately, the music that you're listening to is pulling you away from who you really are. And the fact is, this is about being real with yourself. Because right now, what ain't real is young guys carrying guns, carrying weapons, selling drugs, because your ulterior motive is materialism. And I don't know about you, but I just know that even though I haven't read the Quran, I can assure you materialism isn't high on the agenda. Is that true? Is in the Quran materialism high on the agenda? No, it's not, is it? But yet most of you Asians, young people out there, materialism has come your number one focus point.
So Sheldon, a fantastic talk there with the kids of the Rhythm Community Centre. Now, you mentioned that you were in a gang. How did you actually, find yourself in the position you're in now and no longer a gang member?
Well, I have to put that down to Bernie Grant and Jesse Jackson. Bernie Grant was one of the first black MPs in this country, came down to Brixton, took me out of Brixton, put me on a plane to America, and met up with Jesse Jackson, who then mentored me. And I think I was introduced to God by Jesse Jackson that way. But I would say that Bernie Grant was the real foundation, because he channeled my anger. He changed the way I viewed the world, because at that time, I thought every white person hated me because I was black. And what Bernie Grant tried to show me is that's a sidetrack, that's a distraction that's trying to get you to go down the wrong path. And what he was trying to show me was that if we channeled our anger, do the right things, we can actually get involved in situations where we can change the way people think, the way we can change the way our community is. And I really didn't know that at the time. And I'm not one of those who grew up without a father. I had my dad there. But because of the time period I grew up, it was a very hostile time period. I grew up very angry, very bitter. And one of the things that made me realize is when you have somebody, Bernie Grant, take an interest. He's an MP. Why would he take an interest in somebody like me? And it made me realize for the first time, there is people out there that care about you. There is people that care about every person out there, but it's just whether we sometimes have the luck of the draw, or in some people, God's watching over us and brings us into the path of that person. I was so fortunate for Bernie Grant, and he was the one that instigated my change, and through him, I met Jesse Jackson, and through Jesse Jackson, I came to know God.
So do you feel that MPs should be doing more to stop the alienation which seems to be existing between a lot of the youths today?
I definitely think so. If you go up north, white working class kids don't even feel a part of their own society. Why? Because they don't believe in the government. They don't believe in this new big society plan that the government keeps talking about. And you've got to ask yourself, when white kids can tell you they don't feel a part of their own country, something must be seriously wrong. And I am concerned that we don't have enough men, MPs, enough sportsmen, enough people to take an interest into this new generation of young kids. Whether they be white, black or Asian, it makes no difference. I think what Bernie Grant did, no one else is doing, and we need more people like that to take an interest in our next generation.
Welcome back. We're now going to head over to the Rhythm Centre, to the studio, to speak to Zabeer and a few members of the youth in the community to talk to them about study and faith and how those two can work together.
Assalamu alaikum. Today we're going to be talking about study and faith and how the youth of today can try and combine that in their everyday life. I've got the three guests here today. I've got Bilal, Kaisen and Moaz. Welcome, guys.
Thank you.
Okay. With regards to all of you, I understand obviously you're all in education and so forth. How do you guys combine your studies with your faith, your faith-based principles that you have to try and adhere to? Bilal, yourself?
Well, coming from going through the education process, you realise there's times where it does get difficult combining both of them together, but I think it's just sticking to your principle and having timing and being organised. So prayer timings, for example, the Zohar prayer time would come within the school time, but it usually be at lunch. So you do have a period where you can pray, but sometimes obviously there's stuff like exams, so you may have to delay your prayer. So in a way, you have to work around it. Not work around your prayer, but work it all in and be organised with the time.
And do the universities, without mentioning any names and such, but do the universities and colleges provide that facility for you guys? Do you have like a prayer room?
Yeah, well, in my college we did have every Friday for Jummah we were all in the assembly hall. So that was quite full with probably over 100 students. So that was quite, alhamdulillah, that was quite good for us. And
Kaisen, what about yourself? I understand you're at university, so is there facilities for you guys to pray as well?
In terms of my university, there's sufficient facilities for brothers and sisters to pray, keep up with their prayers, Jummah, which is its own room, which is specifically for Muslims. That's pretty useful, so anyone that wants to pray, it's always available there whenever they want to.
But because me and Kaiser went to the same college, in our college we didn't have a set prayer room, and we were just praying in any room we found, and then once the teachers found out, I think they didn't allow us to pray in school, but they compromised by letting us go out and coming back late for our last lesson just to fit prayer in.
Oh, mashallah, that's good. I mean, that's obviously an understanding from the teachers who know that you guys are passionate about your faith, and you need that facilities to try and do that. That's good to hear. With regards to also the element of combining obviously the faith aspects. Now, for example, you guys are in a mixed environment, and obviously some of these principles don't sit in an Islamic environment. How do you counter that, and how do you guys actually look at that sort of issue of, like, maybe for example mixed environments? So how would you counter that, Bilal? Have you found that difficult?
I think mixed environment is a difficult one to talk about, but if you're talking about just ideas such as different beliefs, I think having a mixed environment is a good thing, because you understand other aspects. So for example, if you have an atheist in your class, when he's talking about not believing in God, in our religion, Islam, you believe in God, so just understanding his point of view enhances your knowledge, and it gives you the other side of the argument. That's
a very good point you mentioned there. So for example, if you had like religious education in colleges and in schools, if something doesn't sit with what's in line with Islam, do you guys are able to speak up about it, or are you guys able to say to your teachers, look, I don't really believe in that? How does that work?
I think it's always good to broaden your knowledge and take on board what other people's opinions are. Even though you might not apply it to your own life or your own religion, it's always good to respect what other people believe in.
Of course, no, definitely, and that's a very good answer there. And also with regards to the faith side of it, how do you guys try and increase your iman and try to increase your knowledge within a college environment? Do you have like Islamic societies or anything like that?
Yes, for instance, at university there'll be like an Islamic society, and that will organise events and different talks to try and bring the Islamic community together at university, so you know that you've got your fellow brothers around with you. And that really just brings the community together. Okay, and do you guys attend like study circles or anything else like that within the university? Yeah, there'll be like speakers that come in, and there'll be talks. There'll also be social events, so you can meet fellow Muslims in university. So this kind of brings everyone together.
And is there any difficulty with that, Bilal, where you having these study circles or speakers coming in? Do you counter anything from the universities who are saying, look, we're not too happy about this or so on? Or they're quite open to you guys to do that?
In fact, they promote stuff like that. They want you to get involved. They want you to start societies. So, in a way, they help you do it as well. So, with university, there's no problem when it comes to your religion.
Okay. And how do you balance, for example, when you've got exams and you've got some stuff to do, that's very important. And how do you balance that with regards to your Islamic duties as well? For example, praying, and especially in Ramadan. How do you be at university and college during Ramadan as well?
It can be difficult due to timetables at university. So, for instance, you may have an exam that's during Jummah, or you might have like a lecture that's at that time. So it can be sometimes difficult to find that fine balance between attending your lectures and obviously praying as well.
And what about Ramadan, during the Ramadan period? How do you guys do
what
that?
Kaisen said, I think it's always important that whenever it is, if it's in Ramadan or if you're studying, I think it's always important to remember that if you're praying your salah, it would only take you 10 minutes max. So whenever the day is, whatever salah is, you can always find time out to pray.
Okay, and it's obviously also, I presume it helps that you're surrounded with good friends as well. I mean, would you think that's important to be within your education environment, being with good friends and good people that will maybe remind you and say, look, you know, it's salah time. Do you guys have that as well?
And it's down to the individual as well as how strong your beliefs are.
Yeah.
So if you're strong about praying, no matter what, you will find a way to pray it, whether that be before an exam, after an exam, before your revision, or even after your revision. So it comes down to, obviously your friends help if you have a good environment, but it comes a lot down to the individual himself as well.
But I also think that's also important to surround yourself with people that are going to influence you and encourage you to keep up with your prayers as well as your work duties, your studies. So this is another benefit of joining Islamic societies. You're surrounded by these like-minded people that want to pray, and they will encourage you to pray.
Because at the end of the day, you're likely to forget yourself and they're likely to forget. So with a lot of people around, you can remind each other, so you're both benefiting.
MashaAllah. Okay, guys, thank you very much for your feedback. Really good comments from you lot there. MashaAllah. Jazakallah for that. And as always, thank you very much for all of you guys for watching. Jazakallah. You've been a great audience.
So today we have Hanif with us, who is going to talk to us about the New Vic Islamic Society. Now, Hanif, can you tell me a little bit about what it actually is?
Bismillah, alhamdulillah, salatu wassalam ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Basically, the New Vic Society is about supporting the students at New Vic, Muslims and non-Muslims alike. And if you're a Muslim in New Vic, you have certain requirements or certain needs you have. For example, where we have college from usually typical day would be 9 till 5. So in between those times, we have a lot of prayer time in between two. So in some season is 2, some season is 1. Yeah, some season is 3. So we have New Vic has provided with a prayer room facility. So stuff like, you know, if we need to do anything with the prayer room or if we need to organize any events, we just basically we are the one that's in the middle between the students and the college.
Okay, so New Vic is a college.
It's a college, yeah.
And,
college.
And the college have provided you with a prayer room.
Yes.
Oh, that's a nice touch. So it gives you somewhere to actually go away from the hustle and bustle of college.
Yeah.
And I noticed that you, as New Vic, you use the Rhythm Community Centre. Is that right?
Yes, we use Rhythm Community Centre for if you're holding any events. You know, college is actually near to full capacity at the moment.
Oh, really?
So obviously we need to hire some hall nearby. This is only 10 minutes away from college. So this community centre is been very supportive and useful to us. And you know, they've got readily set up pool tables. You know, they've got PlayStation. They've got a large garden there, which we could even do barbecue, which you're gonna do today.
Oh, you're having a barbecue today?
Yeah.
Oh, excellent. We'll stay and have a look at that. So, the people coming to the barbecue, are they people from the New Vic Islamic Society?
And barbecue with open arms to anyone that's coming. For, like, you know, it could be Muslims in New Vic or non-Muslims in New Vic, or even if it's outside New Vic, anyone that wants to come. We've even advertised on Facebook, so anyone that wants to come, they just have to book it in and they could come in.
So, in terms of social media with New Vic, are you on the internet? Are you out there? You know, the Islamic Society. You're out there trying to sort of maybe get other colleges to follow suit.
Basically, no, Islamic Society is in nearly all the colleges and universities.
Oh, there is one?
Yeah, so basically, you know, this is a thing which is in all the colleges and universities, so it's not like there's someone who needs to follow our suit. It's been traditionally there.
Okay, so some of the more successful things with the New Vic Islamic Society, are there things that you're maybe trying to roll out to other colleges and say, look, we've been successful at this, why don't you try this? Or are the other things that you've seen other colleges that are successful at that you're trying to bring in to your society?
I think we are in the beginning stage at the moment, so we are more like taking stuff from other colleges and universities. Now, there are universities which are much more experienced than us. You know, they've been there for long, 10 years, 20 years. So it's better for us to take experience from them rather than start something new as a starter.
Right, okay. Thanks, Anith, that's fantastic. Got a great insight there into the New Vic Islamic Society. Our final segment of the show today is our advice piece, and that comes from Minister Ashley from Christchurch in Newham.
I'd like just to tell you to be true to yourself, because other people won't make choices for you. They'll make choices for themselves. If you allow other people to make choices, It means that your life is being chosen and dictated to by other people. They've often made plans for their life, but they haven't made a plan for your life. You need to start to think about what you want out of life, where you want to go, and to be absolutely honest with yourself about the choices that you make. You know, I'd like to see you make good choices, to follow God, to find life, to live life to the full. And I'd ask you, and I'd challenge you to do that.
Once again, guys, thanks for joining us today and watching another episode of The Youth Show. Until next time, I've been Marcus, and I'll see you soon.